Welcome to Beyond Brave. I'm Kyla, and here's where we dive into stories of hope, bravery, and laughter. Millions followed our journey with my daughter Bella, but now it's time to go beyond the headlines and highlight reels to those raw, real moments I haven't shared anywhere else. So are you ready to go beyond brave? Let's dive in.
But if you want it to be perfect, you can make it perfect.
Welcome, everybody, back to Beyond Brave. I'm Kyla, CT, with my co-host, husband Lyle, and we are excited to bring you a very special guest today. Her name is Brandy Hofer, and Brandi is an artist, muralist, educator, mother, podcaster, and author with 20 years experience who has practiced and studied art extensively. She has traveled through Europe and North America, exhibiting and teaching thousands of students the art of portraiture. I hope I said that right.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you did or not.
Yes. Okay. Her journey combines creativity and mindfulness, inspiring others to connect with their artistic passions and see their everyday ordinary as extraordinary through their creativity. So welcome, Brandy. I'm so excited to have you on.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You definitely give it 1 week at least. And which
Yeah.
you did. I think you nailed it. Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, I don't think I'm big enough to be there.
No,
we need at least like 6.7 million followers.
We were
and to star in a few movies, no big deal.
Yeah, we were really surprised how quickly he said yes, and I thought that would take a while. I'd have to go through his assistant and everything, but
here,
sweetheart.
I'll go help.
Okay, sweetheart, don't interrupt.
The life of parents in winter.
Okay, so our listeners and our audience might not know that we've met previously because you are part of the Brave Spaces team. Who redid Bella and Waylon's room, got your merch on.
Yeah.
So I was gonna, if our audience doesn't know, and I also wanted to mention your podcast, like we are double podcasting this. So Brandy's podcast is Color Me Happy, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so we'll have the second half of this segment. Brandy will get to interview Lyle and I, which I'm looking forward to. But
Me
I wanted
too.
to start with my first question being like, how did you first learn about Bella and our stories? That was our connection with the Brave Spaces team for the room makeover.
For sure.
Yeah.
So when I saw that question, I was like, this always makes me feel old and disconnected because Janelle phoned me a couple times and she was like, okay, so I'm sorry that you're late in the game, but I thought of you and we have this really cool thing that we're doing for a family. We also have no money to give you. But we want this mountain mural done. And I was like, sure. I didn't listen to any. I was like, yeah, sounds great. And then she sent me all your info. And that was the first time. And then I realized that I had been living under a rock because everyone in my family and every acquaintance knew who you were. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I don't sit on, I work on social media, but I, in order to have business and life success, I don't scroll on social media. I only do the bare post, talk to people and wonderful people because there's amazing, that's what I think is the coolest part of social media is connecting with wonderful people like you. And so they were like, yeah, come. And then I started meeting with them more and they said how much Bella loved these particular things. And they showed me your spaces and the idea and the drawings and everything that went along when they drew their little sketches of the rooms. And then I was like, I can make a butterfly too. Please let me make the butterfly. I can do mountain murals too, but I would love to do that. And then it evolved into how can we make it together? Because when you involve children, of course, in anything, then it just makes that experience much more special and connecting to her creativity and her space and making it feel like hers, right?
Yeah.
Was the idea behind that. And then, of course, the more I dove deep into you guys, the more wonderful I learned about Bella and your journey, and of course, everything you've gone through. And it was just, I'm so honored to have gotten to spend time with you. Especially, I think it was only 24 hours. I think I came the next day too, but it was like 24 hours where I zipped to Swift Current.
Yeah.
And then, it was a bit surreal. And it was just like, these are wonderful. Like you just, like, I would say Waylon is like his own son, has his own universe centering around him in this like really bright light. That was really fun to like play with him and interact and make the mural together, and getting to know you guys more and creating with Bella, even though she wasn't feeling the best that day, and just like small little moments in a very short period of time that I will never forget. So thank you for allowing me to be a small part of your journey in space.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and the entire Brave Spaces crew, you guys, as you were doing the makeover, you guys got to be the family that we shared our home with for Bella's like final days at home. I'm so thankful she got to take part. At first, we were maybe thinking about making it an entire surprise for her and Waylon, but it ended up her not feeling really great those last couple of days. You guys were here before she had to go back into hospital. And, it's just nice to be home in this space with you guys. You guys shared so much love with us. And then to do something with Bella that she has always loved, which is art, is comforting for her.
Yeah, you think about it. Oh, those days, when you think of a normal reno, no one really wants to be around that, but that wasn't what it was. It was, fun activity, especially for kids. They don't care what the house is like. They like the activity that's going on. And you guys, all the attention you showed them over that time you were here made it really exciting for them. So they loved it.
Yeah.
And what a cool team of people.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just, you guys will always have just that special, precious, part of me in those days at home with Bella. It just really means a lot to me.
My mom asked one point later on after Bella had passed and we got home, and maybe a few months ago, she was asking me because Bella never got to see her room reno after you guys had completed it. And she was wondering if I had almost wanted it kind of back the way that it was. And I thought about that. Her room was nothing special. It was just like any other, square or room that a normal kid has. And I said, you know what, there was a lot of difficult memories in her bedroom. So there's not something in particular that I miss in it. I mean, there's still the drawings that she had, the items that are in there, and it's exactly how she would want her space to be now. So there's not something left there that I am missing. That's for sure.
I feel the same way in that case, that there's with her room, the way it originally was, it held a lot of difficult, scary memories. And with the room renovation and the creative way that you guys worked with Bella to create her dream room, the room is just light. It's love and light every time I step into it. And it's so much easier to walk into, I would say, than how if we would have left it the way it was. But
it's more of kind of like, I want to say shrine to her.
Yeah.
But it's her imagination in there. Her items are still in
her
there.
Ideas, her dreams.
It's kind of a nice place to celebrate her.
Yeah.
While I think it'd probably be more difficult for you being in her room the way it was. We wouldn't know what to do with it. Like we'd take her bed out of there. I don't know. It would feel very, very empty and hollow. If it was the way it was.
And she did actually, I don't know if I mentioned this to everyone on the Brave Spaces team, but Bella, having spent the last couple of days at home with the start of the room makeover, she was so looking forward to her room, and it gave her
Right.
so much excitement while she was in hospital. She in the first month we were in hospital after we had to go back in, I kept keeping it a surprise for her. And then as we got closer to, to a second month in hospital, she's like, Mom, I really just want to see my room. And you guys had completed it. And I was like, yes. I was like, I told her, I was like, it's going to be so much more exciting when you're actually physically there. So yeah, let's take a look at the pictures. And we took some time and we watched all the videos that we had in our Google shared folder. And she did actually get to see every detail and every part. And it gave her so much joy. And I'm really happy I didn't keep it a full surprise for her.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she got to virtually experience basically her imagination
Yeah.
coming to life, which
Yeah.
was, and
Yeah.
then of course, like Siobhan and Stuart and like everyone, I like, they put in so much thought to every
Oh yeah.
single detail, like
Cat
to throw
portal?
pillows to cat portals to lowering switches,
Yeah.
which like wasn't easy. I imagine the like,
No.
like I'm no electrician, but like,
Yeah.
and so it just is a testament of the inspiration that you give others and the hope, and for the people to know that no matter what you're experiencing in your life, because you guys were experiencing the hardest of hard, and that you can find little rays of sunshine in that, in amongst those clouds, and it was so apparent. I remember, like, so grief obviously is inevitable. It
Mhm.
does happen to everyone, but I think there are levels of grief and loss that are much more intense. And I remember, so my mom was diagnosed with cancer the year and a half. I don't know. Time kind of gets funny after a while, but year and a half, for a year and a half, and then she passed. But it was right before I was pregnant with my first son. So then when I was 6 months pregnant, before she became a grandma, we lost her. And I remember us driving to Wilkie, Saskatchewan, which you guys know where that is, because
Yeah, we have friends
we're
from
all
there. Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember that Unity Road, and it was like long, and we're on hills, and I remember something she said to me, because like I actually think I was pregnant. I think I just like had got the stick and shown her, which was extremely, we didn't talk about it a lot because it was extremely painful, because she knew she was not going to be around.
No.
And she didn't talk a lot. She was very stoic. She smoked, and she just was like, like very few, like sappy, I would say, words. And she did say, like, the most pain that anyone can ever experience in a lifetime, and I hope it never happens, and is to lose a child, because she was close with someone and experienced that along with her friend, and it just, that I'll never forget what she said. And you guys, you didn't just face that once. You've faced like so many ups and downs of, yes, it's great, or no, it's not. And like, I listened to your podcast about anxiety, and the strength it took, and it takes still. I think you're just giving everyone a lot of hope that, we are very resilient as human beings.
Mm-hmm. And I totally agree. And thank you for that. That really means a lot. And I mean, this life, Bella has brought us so many amazing people that help hold us up, like you. And that really means a lot to us. And I just hope that we can carry that on for her and be that for other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think your podcast is a great start.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. That's our whole purpose for this
Yeah, I was at a hockey game just the other night, and a lady was talking to me about it, and she's really excited. She's like, I haven't gotten through all the episodes yet, but I got through the one, and she just loves our banter. And she mentioned that, like, you were talking about 4D ultrasounds, and I started making fun of you.
Oh, right.
I was like, yeah, you got to snap back into reality and like have some fun with it. But she just likes the, I guess, the vibe we bring. But you know, and there's all kinds of emotions all over the place when we do this, and it feels good.
Yeah. And I realized
it's important to be honest. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh,
like
okay.
you know, you're very honest about your feelings.
Yeah.
And what you're going through.
Yeah. We want to, I've always, with Bella and our social media presence, that's always been priority for me, is to be open and vulnerable and honest. And I always taught Bella that when you can be that way in public, like on socials or on podcasts, then people are more receptive, and then you can help more people. You know, what I was going to say earlier wasn't important. I was just going to say, I talked a whole podcast about 4D ultrasounds when it's technically an MRI.
Oh, really? Is that what it was?
That's all it was.
I love it. I love it.
It's not 4D, it's something else. It's like, and then afterwards I was like, oh, it's an MRI. That's what it's called.
But also putting yourselves out there, like, and not knowing what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you do the same thing.
Yeah. No, I do the same thing and embarrass myself pretty often.
Yeah.
And okay, so Lyle, you talked about it on the podcast. I was listening this morning. Hockey, like how you're helping anyway. I'm like, I'm also doing that. I've got taken out by the kids so many times on the ice.
Are you coaching?
I am helping coach.
Oh yeah, for coach too. Yeah,
but because it's just like this club where you have to be like and I'm like, they're 5 and 6. Yeah, I'm like, I'm fun. Right?
There's a few kids in the league too that like 6-year-olds that are definitely better than me, especially now and we're getting
they're
to
like
the end
dangling, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I know. They're like, Lyle, like take a shot, and it's a disaster. I can't even shoot the puck.
It's very hard to put together skating and shooting.
You guys,
it's good because I don't get this. I don't see this out of anyone else, but it's nice to hear someone going through it with me.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing. Every practice is on a level that you just like, but also like I have 3 boys in hockey. And I am very active. And so I did learn to skate, and we have a shooting thing in our garage. So I'm trying to learn how to shoot. And my husband like puts up different chairs. So you leave one foot on a chair and like shoot with and like, so he's like, this will gain your muscles, but and then you'll start to flex. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I may be undersold. I've known how to skate my entire life. Did you just recently learn?
No, so I've known how to skate, but not like no, I'm not starting from scratch.
I had to coach, so I had to learn how to skate first. Like,
no,
not that bad.
We commend you.
I played my whole life, but I didn't grow up with money. So I had a single mom, so she couldn't take me. So I wanted to play once. It was ringette, and then it was girls hockey, but like as if she could buy me all the equipment and pay the the money to be in it and take me every weekend. Like that wasn't happening. So I was obsessed and like did pond hockey, but I never like fully dressed up for a game. But I mean, that was my teens. And let's fast forward 20 years later, right? I did have to like work on skating a bit, and I learned to skate along with Teddy, and so it's fun. But you do slowly, and you hurt yourself.
The real coach will be talking to them, and you're kind of just like, oh, that is a good little tip. I'll have to try that out. Okay.
Yes. Is that how you use your inner edge? Okay.
Yeah.
No,
that's an inner edge.
That's a crossover.
That's a cross.
Yeah. No.
Before we forget, I brought the art that you created with Bella and Waylon and I for their room. So I brought that in, and
this room's full of art.
For our
it's much nicer than normal.
For our viewers, I'll try and be descriptive. Do you want to hold up? We'll start with Bella's butterfly painting.
Oh, okay.
So I believe, Brandy, you created this. You created this with your your son. I'll let you take over, but you brought it when we started the room makeover. And so it's an interactive piece. And I started, Bella drew, so it's a large white and gold butterfly outline with a purple splash background. And you, the camera? Yes, it is. It's perfect. And so you gifted Bella all these amazing materials for art to add to this. And she started with a little bit of pink and purple coloring with marker in the bottom. And we glued on like 3D butterflies and jewels and cloth flowers. And she got tired a little bit through and wanted to lay down on the couch. So she's like, Mom, you can add some more to it. So I added, and I made sure she approved, but I added some more jewels and 3D butterflies and glued on. But yeah, walk me through how you started or how you created this.
Yeah. So every piece and what we teach in our classes, and I run an art academy locally, is like every piece starts. You don't have to hold it up either. It's super heavy, and I know it is.
Well, that's why I got on the armrests.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on the armrest.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was like hiding behind giant pants.
It starts with, and like this is a really big art therapy move too, is just like that fully like just expressionism, right?
I was going to ask you that too, how you incorporated therapy with your studio and your classes, or if you did do that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I do a bit of mindset work, and mostly to really like lift people up and empower them to create, because I think it's really important. It's important for everyone to be creative every day in some form, whether it be like cooking or scrapbooking or listening to music or playing music, anything. Like just like 10, 15 minutes a day, it actually feeds your soul. Like there's no doubt about
cooking.
it.
I think I do that with cooking. Kyla gets frustrated when I'm cooking. She's like, well, how much did you put into that? I'm like, I don't know. How much are Whatever you want. Yeah, like what do you mean? I'm not baking here.
Yeah.
I'm just
Sorry,
holding
go
up.
on, I interrupted you.
I'm just holding up.
Oh, he went crazy with that. I love it.
Yeah. So with Waylon's, you had, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had created a print of mountains, and in the bottom space, like kind of whiter space and the reflection under the lake, for Waylon to also draw mountains and do his creative artwork incorporated with this picture. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Which I love. I love the child like mark making, and again, like that abstract expressionism.
Yeah.
It's just it's so fun, number one. And you can have a ton of fun connecting and creating with your kids. Like there is no more powerful tool. And it's something we always turn to in the hardest parts of our lives, or the most challenging times. Like this poem connects to you when you're grieving, or this song gets you motivated or cheers you up or pumps you up for the hockey game or whatever it is, right? Everyone is always turning to creativity, whether they realize it or not. And so I think starting with that like immediate moment of capturing how you felt in that creative expression is just such an easy step into art, which everyone can do and experience, right? And it's very approachable and freeing. So that, whatever you're thinking about in that very first step, there's always a lot of heart in it while creating. And then thinking about imagery and color and thinking about the person and what they love, I think with those custom pieces is just really important. And some weird stuff always happens every time I do a custom piece. Like say someone got their grandma who passed, like I'll put irises in and they'll be like, her name was Iris and those were her favorite flowers. Like it's something so like you connect in this way that you don't expect. And it's definitely my mission in life to help people connect to that part and side of themselves. I bet your listeners don't know that you're an artist, do they?
I was just gonna bring that up. Waylon, Lyle just had to go help Waylon for a second, but I was gonna bring that up and be like, I'm so happy that you realize that. Like, yeah, so I went to school. My dad really brought out my love of art as a young kid. Like he's got a real good talent drawing, and I developed a really I guess a talent of drawing with pencil was like my main medium. And I never took classes, but I had a lot of people compliment like my ability and my talent to draw. And so it was from a young age, it was just, I loved it. And then when I went to university to be a teacher, I took the arts ed program. And so visual arts was my major. And so visual art being my major, and then also music and drama and English below, and literature below that. But
so all creative.
All creative. And Lyle and I have a funny story because we started dating and getting to know each other, and he needed an elective, and so he was taking art history with me, and he always brags because he got a better grade than me in that class. And I was like, well, it was art history. It's like dates and names of people. Like, of course you did great. Like
He was probably distracting you during the class.
I'd let him sleep and I'd go and take notes for us.
Oh no. He was using you.
Totally. I let it happen, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
so good.
I've had a love of art for a really, really long time, but I was so interested when I was reading the bio you gave me that I've never been able to do anything like travel to Europe, or let alone like teach classes outside of like a classroom. So like that was going to be my next question for you, is like, how did you create, like, how did Brandy Hofer Studios come to be?
Well, it was like, I went to art school, and I went to NASCAD in Halifax. That's where I graduated from, which I realized was really far away from the prairies after I went there. I was like, wow, that was a really long flight.
Yeah.
And I can't just fly back to Saskatchewan anytime I want. But that's most of my life, like doing things and not thinking it through fully, maybe. Like leaping with my heart first. And gut and intuition. That's basically how I've led most of my life. And so I went there, and then I did definitely get stuck in the whole mindset of, because there wasn't really social media. It had just started, but not while I was in art school. And so like the idea of making a living as a creative and an artist was, you have to get into a gallery, and that is like the definition of success. And what they don't tell you is like they take 50%, which they should take. They work really hard too, but no one's going to work as hard or advocate as hard as you do for yourself. And that's what I love about the social media exposure, is that like artists and creatives and people can be successful or send out their message without having that third party platform or representation, right? Actually, I'll go back to one of Ryan Reynolds' quotes from your podcast. A cheat code in life is to just do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, good one, Ryan.
Yeah, that is definitely.
Solid Canadian guy. So cheat code in life is to just do it yourself. So after like a decade of kind of like trying and failing, and I did show in New York, and I did go to Europe, and I did do these things. And then it was just like, okay, I did that, and no one really cared but me, really. You know what I mean? Like it was very ineffective.
Okay.
Right? Like it was like, really, oh, cool. Good for you, right? Yeah, you get to put it on your resume and in your bio. Right?
Yeah.
But impact-wise, there was a real shift that I had, I would say like 6 years ago, where I was like, okay, how do I, number one, make some money so I can make more of an impact? To make more of an impact, you do need money. So how do I give back to community? How do I help people also through this creative journey, where I feel like I was told a lie a little bit, like this is success. And I was like, I am not like, I don't sell, I sell art.
you had galleries way up here, and then once you got it, it's like, okay, what is that? Is that what you're kind of, was that the feeling?
Yeah, like I'm like, cool, I made what minus 1,000 this year. Like it was just like it was such
Okay.
a lie. Like
Yeah.
I do know, but I only know like almost a handful, not even a full handful of artists who actually make that work. Andrew
Okay.
Salgado's from Regina. He
Okay.
makes it work, but his partner owns a gallery in London, Beers London, a very popular gallery. So there's only like, and like the Milans, but her parents started their own institute. And it's like, yes, there are, but like there's also millions of artists who are independent. And how do you make an independent living or a small business work with anything? And you really do have to just like dig in and do it yourself. So I started doing murals. I started collaborating. And then I had this really cool connection. It's called our portrait class. And my friend came over and she has little girls, and same sort of thing. Like little girls love art typically, boys do too, but like there's just that like thing where they do things with their hands, and they're so receptive, right? And so she said, Ruby wants to come paint with you for her birthday and I'll pay you. And I was like, no. Just come over and we'll hang out. And then that morning, Kristen, her mom, who's a photographer, a local photographer, texted me and she's like, or I said, why don't you come too? And we'll just hang out, bring the girls, and we'll all make portraits together and I'll teach you what I do. And they all came, and we had, or no, not all the girls, just Ruby and Kristen came. Then they came back, but that's the end of the story. But Kristen turns out also a secret art student.
Oh,
Yes. And one of her professors accused her of cheating and not making the art. So she just like stopped making art for like 20 years and went into photography, very successful photographer. And so she brought in these photographs of her daughters, right? And she was drawing Lola, and Ruby was drawing Ruby, and they kept sending me weekend like updates because we started hung out on Friday, and then all throughout the weekend they send me this like crazy like good art. I was like, this better than mine. Like it was so good. And I was like, maybe I can teach people. Like clearly this is a very approachable method. And a bit of a hack. And then I said, come back next week and you can record it. And she's like, I've never recorded a thing before. I was like, I minored in film. I was like, we'll figure it out. And so we shot the whole course over a weekend. And it's the most viral thing I sent it to you a while ago, but you got to try it. Like
are you explaining your famous, I'm going to call it famous, transfer method?
Yeah.
Is that, yes. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to get into that and describe that to everyone.
So I show the hack online a bit different than it's actually is in the class. Like you can get a really nice drawing from taking the whole class and using the materials and methods. Lyle's eyes are probably like glazing over at this point, but
I'm waiting to learn about the transfer method.
Yeah. It's a secret actually. And so
people always say that. They're like, oh, man, Lyle must be just like, I don't know, I'm pretty patient. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Minded guy.
Yeah. So I teach the oil pastel one online because it's more approachable for like teachers and people who can't afford art supplies. Like a lot of people have like old set oil pastels, or classrooms always have the oil pastels. So it's very approachable, and again goes back to values and mission of like how many people can you empower to feel good. Because I feel like when I went to school, and it's that same thing, it's like there's these challenges and reasons why things are challenges, and you went through something. When I was in school, it was very competitive. You had to draw by so I would like hours and hours of figurative nudes, stuff like that, like to learn the proper way, which by the way, any way that you're sitting down at this point in stage in life and you're not on your device and you're creating is a great thing.
Yes.
So whether you call my method, and I do get some haters, not a lot, pretty nice community, but some are like, well, that's cheating. No one's learning anything from that. I was like, I have a few years under my belt of people learning. Also, I did it for 15 years like prior to, and that's why I'm able to teach it easily, is because I went through that learning curve, and I'm showing the easiest, fun, most fast, efficient way to get there. Right.
And if it's enjoyable, like that's the point, right? Like it's a therapy in itself. You want to do art in an enjoyable way. Like if these people are like, it's not art unless you learn how to draw realistic for 25
unless you have a
years.
horrible time and your eye and your nostrils look funny.
Right.
Then,
And
no.
back to that like rude, professor comment. I had one of those in one of my visual art classes, and I'll never forget it. It's burned into my brain. Sad, negative memory that's burned in my brain. So my favorite medium has always been with pencil. I love pencil and shading and black and white. And so in this class, it was my oil painting class. And I worked really, really hard with a mix of like my drawing talent and painting, learning to paint better. I forget what project it was for, but we were all creating our own like pieces of like however we wanted. And my favorite is realistic animals. And so I drew the scene of two wolves in the night, and they're realistic, and I thought they were beautiful, and I thought I did a great job, and I really loved it. And there was meaning towards it. Anyways, I don't know if this is like an art professor thing or
kind of sometimes is.
I was thinking that. I was like, maybe this is an art professor thing and I just need to like toughen up my skin. But it's like, it's been like this hurt in my chest. That
You're carrying this.
I've carried it.
What did he say?
She said, and this was like a public critique. This was a classroom critique. So she's critiquing our works in front of the entire class. Okay. She's like, she did some sort of like little comment sandwich, but the crappy part in the middle of the sandwich was, and I quote, "This looks like something that would be on the side of a semi truck." It's very, I'm not even kidding you. This looks like it would be something on the side of a semi truck. It's very cliche.
Come on.
Because it wasn't this abstract,
uninspired
piece that I worked so hard on it because it was realistic, right? It wasn't this like circle and square.
Yeah.
It was a realistic painting of animals, and I did freaking good. And she made me feel like I should just throw it in the trash.
You should go paint that mural on a semi truck.
It would fit totally fine, right?
Or like, you know what? People are getting sea cans. People are painting sea cans a lot.
There.
Yeah. I'll never forget it.
You got a messenger.
Oh, she's probably not on this.
I don't think they realize what they're holding in their hands. And also, I think they should eliminate group critiques.
Right? Okay. Yeah. We got a lot.
What can a 19-year-old say to another 19-year-old that is constructive? Nothing.
Yeah, right?
Nothing.
This was like a 50-year-old art professor. Her critique for me, her student.
Jerks.
Like, what kind of critique is that?
Yeah.
If you're looking for a critique, it was a great critique. If she did exactly what you're expecting she's supposed to. If you wanted a critique, here's one.
Yeah. It always brings me back to that TikTok sound.
It wasn't a good one, but
TikTok sound is like, I don't think you're good for him. And she's like, that's my opinion. I don't think he's good for you.
Yeah, I would never dream of, and it's those bad experiences that like make it your mission in life to like be kind to others. You're like, I will never say something like that to someone else because of the way I felt in that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She really taught me.
You were vulnerable.
Yeah.
And she really shit on your dreams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've never really actually seen you draw much. I didn't know you then, but you clearly backed off away from it.
Yeah, well, becoming a medical mom really took a hit to my,
obviously,
my extracurricular time.
Extra time,
time. But it really, I guess that kind of comment maybe helped me learn how to very constructively critique my kids because their sensitivity was about on par with mine.
So you should be thanking her then, really.
I guess so.
she taught you a lesson, very valuable life lesson there.
Yeah.
Maybe I need more of that.
Yeah.
And I think you were very creative as a medical mom or parent, like with the way you had fun, like video creating is a form of creativity.
Yes.
Like a big one.
Yeah.
Definite young teen girl tween obsession. When I walked into a birthday party yesterday to pick up my sons, and they have a daughter that's like 1 year older or whatever, and they were just all, they were TikToking, and the dad's like, no, this is all day. Like, this is not just like you're walking into, like, this is what they do. And I was like, oh, and I just, I'll never have the insight into a young, because we didn't grow up with that. So like, I don't know. And then of course I just see there's 56 boys in our neighborhood. So I just see, so my cousin always says, she's from Wilkie, and she's like, not there. And I think she's in Vancouver, but she's like, I can smell the urine from your yard here.
Oh, just,
56.
Yeah.
Do you know for a fact there's 56 boys?
That's funny.
Just boys. So there's more, there's like 6 girls or something.
Oh, wow.
But we counted during the pandemic because we were bored.
What a weird fact you just dropped it. Like, how do you just rattle off that number? Let's back up.
Right? We were just all here. We were just like, it was very lucky actually. Like, because it's like a horseshoe and it's a big close, but it's like 100 and some houses and like a little, actually, I don't know that. We didn't count the houses, but counted the kids under 16 and under. Because it was just like they ran in a pack of 30 for a couple summers there,
Oh, wow.
So I feel like sometimes, do you guys think about your Canadian accent while you're podcasting?
No.
No, the only
Now you're never gonna not hear it.
Yeah.
They ran this back of 30 around the pot in the pandemic.
Well, that's a little bit more of an accent compared to us down south here. It does come in. I notice, like, once you get to that Wilkie area, it gets a little stranger.
Do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or if you're and south of the highway, you get closer to the border, it gets pretty obvious.
Yeah.
We notice that it comes up when we travel once in a while. People laugh at us and they're like, you're from Canada, aren't you? And you don't know that you have an accent.
You're talking so slow.
Yes.
Like, have you met anyone from Newfoundland?
Yeah, right? They're slower.
But like in a very unique way. I have to grab water. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I should have had it.
That's okay.
But also, we were speaking of different parts of Canada. Just because there's a border in between us and a few hours, our time is very different.
Yeah. No, this is a good chance while you're having a sip there. I was going to say we're going to switch gears and kind of flip over to the other side of our double podcast and have Brandy interview us. And
I think she kind of did, though.
Well, yeah, if there's any extra ones.
I know. Sorry. That was podcasting Brandy come out anyway.
Yeah,
no, that's fine.
Regardless of the situation.
I only had before we switch things over and like kind of hand over the mic to you, I had one more question, just as like an artist to an artist, like what's your absolute favorite medium if you could pick one?
Oh, I'm a mixed media queen because I mix it all together in that like process. Like I hashed out a painting yesterday. So like I've gotten really prolific because I have done it for so many years over and over and over. Mm-hmm. I love, can I say paper? I love something about paper and more than canvas or board. It's just the way it absorbs, first of all, like watercolor or acrylic stains, and then how you can come over top of that with colored pencils, soft pastels, oil pastels. And it's like painting, but drawing at the same time.
Yeah.
So like, I'm pretty obsessed with that whole process. And it just it's just so fun and efficient. And I feel like with all the kids and all the things going on in our world, like the most efficient way you can like do your thing is just, it keeps it light, right? Like Teddy and I drew Sonic and Shadow this week because the kids were off school, and it only
Yeah, I
took
saw
us a
that.
few days.
That's
Yeah,
the-
you got to try that one. Does Waylon like Sonic?
He's like a Mario Kart fan, big Mario
Ooh.
Kart
That's
fan.
not Sonic. That's Mario.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But a couple
So-
days. That's a lot. Isn't that like Waylon's going?
Like
10 minutes.
so he's definitely an ADHDer. My
Yeah.
doctor's like, you can't say that till he's 7. I was like, okay, you just come spend a day at our house and you tell me he's not. Like, that's like 7-minute intervals here and there.
Oh,
for
gotcha.
him.
Yeah.
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 I got
Maybe
it.
not even, maybe 4 if we're lucky, where he sits and actually adds anything to that drawing. Yeah.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you have to spread it out. You just have to have it on the kitchen table, ready to go for him to like interact.
Yeah. Right on.
We
right on.
should flip gears and bring. My husband just came home for lunch. We should just
Oh,
we should
throw
do a
him the
double
headphone.
partner podcast. Carly,
Yeah.
you want to be in it? No. Sometimes he's shy. Do you want to say hi?
Other than me.
Okay,
No.
he won't do it.
Aw. Boo.
We're talking to Kyla and Lyle, Bella's parents. Do you want to come on now? No? Huh? No?
Pressure.
All the pressure.
I just wanted a sandwich.
Get over here.
Yeah. He just came from playing noon hockey.
Oh.
Speaking of hockey obsessed people, do you like watching hockey too?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're into it. What's your team?
I'm a hardcore Flames fan. Bella and I spent like many years at the Alberta Children's Hospital. And so and plus also Saskatchewan, we don't have a team. If we did, then I'm sure I'd be a fan of theirs, but Flames have always been close to my heart. Lyle's kind of a bandwagon jumper. He'll tell you that. When I first met him, he really loved the Canucks, Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
And then the Winnipeg Jets. And now who does he go between? Might still be the Jets and one other team, but I can't remember. Oh, I also like the Vegas Knights too. Just 'cause their anytime there's a home game, it's like this massive production, which is always fun to watch. But also they were an underdog for a little while too.
Yeah. No, they got a lot of fans
Oh
in
yeah.
their inception.
Yeah.
For sure. We're going there, and I'm like, maybe we should go to a game. Or they can go and I can stay home and read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or stay back and read at the pool.
Yeah. I forgot.
Okay.
I wanted to maybe while we wait for Lyle to come back, he's back and forth with Waylon, but that's okay. Kate, you had gifted Bella this painting too.
Oh,
remember?
okay.
Kate,
Yeah.
I never got to ask you about this one. Can you tell me about this one?
Yeah, so that's using our like method and process. So
Right.
that's why it's so fun. It was created on paper. And again, like you or yourself do the backgrounds and your kids can do them because there's no wrong way to do it. And then you let it dry and then you can come in with the drawing. That's oil pastel, like for florals and the skin tone, and then acrylics and Posca pens, which are those paint pens. I think I got you guys some Posca pens.
Yeah, the whole kit is in there. I'm just holding it up in front of Lyle's camera in case anybody is watching on our YouTube.
Yeah, and like
gorgeous.
you can just do fun patterns and use a ton of color and just
I love it.
just go for it, right?
Yeah. This is Frida, right? Did I get that
Yeah.
right? The lady
it is.
that you created.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
still
it's
have to
Frida
check
Kahlo.
it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I need more water. I don't know why my throat's so itchy.
It's been so dry. I had a friend who's had this like dry cough for a couple days now, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "No," but she's not sick. It's just this cough that comes up all the time, and it's like, yeah, you got to constantly be drinking water or like a Halls. It's that winter weather just sucking the moisture out of the air.
Oh, I've watered my plants so much.
Right?
Like I overwatered and killed them last year, but I'm like, I don't know what to do because I'm like, I don't want to do that again. But they're like the dirt separating away from the pot, so I know that like I don't know what to
I
do.
get it.
Probably
I
gonna
know.
overlove them all again.
Well, and if we have our humidity too high in our house, like from our furnace It's like you can't even see out our windows. They're all just like frosted and like sweaty and
Yeah, exactly.
nasty. It looks like there's winter on the inside of our house.
Yeah. No, that happens too. Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, we can switch gears over. Switch
Okay,
over to
we can start.
color me happy with Brandy
Yeah.
Hofer.
Yeah, I'll do my pathetic, I'll attempt an intro, right?
Okay, I'm excited. This is good. I love being the guest on a pod.
Yeah. No, it is. You get to talk about yourself. It's the best.
Easy beans.
Yeah. So we have Kyle or Kyla. I mixed your names together.
Everyone does
Kyle.
that. Okay.
Yeah. Is it
Kyle?
like they mash up your name? See, I told you this is why I no longer do intros. I did it. I did the thing I said I would do. I get
Kyle
way
and
too
Lila.
nervous. Kalila.
Ooh, I haven't heard that one yet.
Kalila.
Delilah. It's our
Your People
celebrity name.
magazine. Yeah, celebrity
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome. You can see that they have the Beyond Brave podcast, and I've been wanting to ask them to come on for a while once they started a podcast, and then they went ahead and had Ryan Reynolds on, which really made me shoot for the moon with I was like, I don't think I can ask them anymore.
Following Ryan Reynolds, we have Brandy Hofer, everybody.
They just started really big with their podcast,
We
and
did. And now it's like, no, just kidding.
no, you're doing great.
No.
You have
Yeah.
so many wonderful people who support you, and so how we know each other is actually through some of those amazing creative DIY people that you got to meet. And I was part of a team that came into your home, and I would love for you to talk about that experience. And that team, actually, I don't want to tell the story. It's your story. But so how did Jenna, because it was Jenna and Siobhan at first, right? Or was it just Jenna? And
It was
how did that all happen?
I think it was just Jenna in the beginning, and she told me how she came to know, she had her own hospital experience when she had come to know Bella's story. I believe she was in the hospital. Hopefully my memory serves me right. Grief does a lot to your memory, and I'm trying to be patient with myself. I used to really pride myself on remembering such details quickly. I know Bella's doctors used to be like, wow. They would be like, when she had such a large history, with over 30 surgeries and 10 years in hospital. But so much of her life was rare disease. And I'd be able to rattle off dates and times from 5-6 years ago and symptoms and all these sort of things. And I know since losing her and heavy grief that my memory has been a little rougher. So my apologies if I am not great with names and dates. But yeah, I know Jenna had, I believe, her own hospital experience. And then she reached out to me and she wanted to do something really special for both the kiddos, and a room makeover was one of them. And she had said she's going to get a team together. And so her and Siobhan kind of headed the Brave Spaces team and were in contact with me about all the details. And then last May, I got to meet all of you, and you came in and just made both the kiddos' rooms absolutely magical. And yeah, it was so they drew Waylon and Bella literally drew their rooms up. Yes, they did. Yeah, we started with I had them draw their rooms, like their dream rooms, on paper, and I sent that in to you guys. And then we also made a Pinterest board. And so I sat down with both the kids, Bella and Waylon, and they made their own Pinterest board, inspiration ideas for both their rooms, and I sent those. And then from there, Jenna would get back to me, or Siobhan, and kind of fine tune all the details that the kids had thought of. Yeah.
But also you guys chose the colors, and you're an artist and creative yourself, which we'll talk about. We did a double podcast today, just so everyone knows. I will be on the Beyond Brave podcast. And then, of course, you're listening to this, so you know, and you can hear more about the whole journey. We had Siobhan and Jenna on too. And we talked about how it all came to be. So if anyone wants to really take a deep dive into why it happened, how, and why it was so important, and the little details. But then like they took it to a whole new level with cat doors,
Oh,
etc.
yes. That was so fun. Okay, so that was I'm pretty sure that was initiated by me. I was thinking of something. Oh yeah. So I think this conversation was with Siobhan, and I was like, I want something neat that's like not typical of like a kid's bedroom. And I'm like, both the kids' rooms are attached by one wall. I'm like, could we make like a little tunnel door for them to go in and out of each other's rooms just for fun or something silly like that? And then I think it was Siobhan that came up with making it like a cat portal. And she designed it with Stuart and everything. I was like, this is so cool. It was so good. And like Waylon and Bella were both small enough. Waylon still fits through it. He's like a tiny girl. But that was also a fun part of their room makeover. I loved it. It was so great. It's hilarious.
And like a testament of how like creatives can get together and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And then I had the honor of making artwork with and for Bella, and you also created into it the butterfly. We don't have Lyle here back where he can hold up that 50-pound painting. And then Waylon and myself did a mountain mural together, which was super fun. And we put roads on it so he can drive on it with his cars. And it was just super
fun
cute. And then we did like a little hanging piece to hang in his room and space. And yeah, it was so fun being with your family and just like a little peek into your lives. Because, you know, when you see people on social media and stuff like that, and you're like, I'm too shy to talk to them or whatever. And then here we are in your home. And it was just super down to earth and very kind. So, and then just like a sneak peek into your lives and what you were going through on like a daily basis, you know, like hearing you talk about, you know, what's Bella's temperature, is she hydrated, is like there's so much more than that little sneak. Like you always put a very positive but also authentic spin on what you say and show, but like no one sees that part necessarily, like the hourly or minute worry that you had as parents. You know?
Yeah. You guys are definitely in on it, like an inside look of like what happens hours before we need to take her back into hospital, or like what goes through her head to make that decision. And she was definitely not herself. She's getting really, really tired. And we didn't know that this was the beginning of the organized pneumonia that had started affecting her lungs, and that being a result of a very, very rare 9-year out complication of having her bone marrow transplant, and then 9 years later having a solid organ bowel transplant. And we learned this information when we sat down with her specialist from Sick Kids. I think it was 4 months after she had passed away. They'd put in all the pathology reports and got all the testing and results back, and from the autopsy to be like, okay, what actually went on here? Because we had the best of the best, you know, at Sick Kids Hospital. You know, when they are the ones to say, just them being the ones, you know, the best pediatric hospital in the world, were the ones to tell us, like, we haven't seen this before in our career, and we likely will not see it again in our lifetime. That's how rare of this lung failure complication Bella had post bowel transplant. And yeah, the day you guys were here, the days you guys had spent here starting the renovation of the kids' rooms was the day before we had to go back into hospital, and that journey didn't end until she passed away in July. Yeah. And so it was, you know, it was really, Bella had fought so many years, and that bowel transplant that happened like for her was life-saving for her. And that was the year prior. She had received her bowel transplant, and that was successful. And it took away so much of the pain in her life, you know, with her bowel, you know, that Hirschsprung's bowel failure disease she was waiting for a bowel transplant to get rid of that. And it definitely saved her life, and it saved her from pain. And so those 9 to 10 months post bowel transplant were the best of her entire life. And yeah, it's just, we were really just at the beginning of looking forward to a pain-free life for her. And so the worry of what she was going through meant going back into hospital. We had thought at that point was we were done with that, you know? And so it was almost like throwing us, like you guys got to see, kind of throwing us back into those earlier years in the hospital when we were home for a little bit at a time. That kind of fear and unknown of like, wait a minute, this really isn't something we should stay home with. We might have to take her back in, kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
and you had that mom's intuition?
Yeah, like it was, and of course, like Bella has dealt with 3 rare conditions and rare, you know, symptoms from these conditions. Like she's the rarest of rare. And so for something else to be going on that they hadn't seen before at this point, 10 years in, I'm thinking, no, like there can't be something again that they haven't seen before, but that is rare disease life. We were, just to catch you up, honey, now that you're back, we were discussing about the, you know, how the Brave Spaces team. So Brandy got to spend those last days with us before we had to go back in the hospital.
You talked about the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline, and just them seeing, you know, the worry we had that day, deciding to take her or not take her, or things like kind of, I was just relating it back to, you know, like when we first, you know, brought her home after 2 years in hospital, and it's like, wait a minute, it's something else now. And then,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we were.
Sorry, I had
sorry. Yeah.
We had a bit of a issue.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of an issue. But
oh no.
It's okay.
Like a bathroom issue?
Yeah.
Oh, we have those too.
I'll probably have to.
Our one son, I'm not sure how often he's like, I sharted, sorry. And I'm like, well, throw those out, buddy.
If we had to throw them out, we'd be out. We'd have to make it to for a 5-pack every week.
I know.
Right now.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. Well, sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to wash poop off. Gosh.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it right now.
I was hoping that like maybe, I don't know if this is for average for 6-year-olds, but I was hoping we were past the wipe until Brown leaves town. Like I was hoping we were past.
No, every day there'll be something like exciting and new that they'll do, and you're like, oh, I thought we were over and done with that, and it's just not. I'm dying because we definitely did funny things with time here, but we'll keep going. What is something unexpected that has like brought you guys comfort during this last year or so?
We're doing the podcast.
Yes, definitely. The podcast, like, I mean, I've been chewing on that idea for a while, like, and we never brought it to actually happening. And then when it started happening, it had such this therapeutic flow to it. And Lyle and I were we started craving it every week. Like, when are we going to sit down and podcast again? You know, and I
don't know if it's necessarily like this is nice, the talking and stuff, but also just having a project on the go that kind of inspires you a little bit. I like the editing and the back end, that sort of stuff too. And so after we're done recording, and it's all learning for me, and it's a distraction, but it's also interesting. And so it's a project, and just having that has been a huge source of it's distraction. Probably not really dealing with things, but it's nice.
I think it is. And for me, I think I'm finding a lot of relief and support in long form sharing, whereas like a lot of the other socials are just so short form. I enjoyed that it's more therapeutic and unexpectedly therapeutic in the long form sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what they do say about grief and loss and dealing with those things is communicating and being honest about it. And for children, and I do want to talk about Waylon's experience. So shortly after our second son was born, so 2.5 years later, and I wish my husband, because sorry, Carly, but like he didn't, I don't think, and still he doesn't talk about his dad passed away suddenly. So we had our first son and we were grieving, and then our second son, and his dad had a heart attack at like we own Windsor Plywood. And they were at like the home base Windsor Plywood in BC, and just like all of a sudden. And so Gus was just over 2, and Finn was just born. And so I stayed home because I had a newborn. And Carly's like, I don't think we should take Gus. And I'm like, no, I think like kids like will help you guys give you something to do. Like, your family's all going to BC to meet, like, deal with everything you have to deal with when someone passes away. And not only that, but like we had just experienced my mom, but she prepared, like she prepared us, because that's what moms do. Right.
Yeah.
And they were prepared. Like it's very like there's no better one for sure. Like, but I said, take Gus. And after that, he was like, I'm so glad we took Gus with us. It just like gave us that, someone to talk to, someone to focus on, but also, so that's like helping adults is having that almost a distraction, right? Like you do have something to do. You have a driver and a purpose, and that helped. And then I started reading about grief books because Gus started like developing a stutter, and because he was just starting to get into language basically at that age.
Yeah.
And boys are a bit slower. Like everyone's like, my girl was talking at 1.5. Well, mine wasn't. They're all a little bit delayed in speech. And then he started stuttering a lot. And I was reading those grief books, and it just said, you have to talk about it. And when Mufasa dies in The Lion King, he does die. Like he didn't go somewhere.
Yeah.
He does come back in the clouds, but like, it's still like, they're always with you. Like parts of what they taught you and said and made how you live through your life, they're in you and they live. And I do love that message about The Lion King. But I kid you not, 6 months later, when Gus started being able to communicate his feelings, he started talking about how much he missed he called him Papa. Aww. And so once he was able to communicate, and it's so like, people don't expect that children are dealing with these levels of grief, right?
Yeah. 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 We definitely, Lala and I have always said in this, like, thank God we have each other, because yes, like loss and grief and losing someone is hard for everyone. But if you had to go through that alone, like I can't imagine. So and then of course, there's our drive forward. There's Waylon and our 6-year-old son, and there's Bella's legacy and carrying that on and hopes to help other families like ours. And all of which I can't imagine going through that alone. But we had, when we kind of were able to lean on each other and kind of pick ourselves up bit by bit out of the mud, I noticed we started seeing a little bit more clearly the long-term effects. I mean, it's only been 7 months, but I'm starting to still see some heavier grief in Waylon more recently. And that was we've seen it a couple times at school. and at home, with the way he brings up Bella at random, and the deep memories he talks about, and the easy tears that come for him, and the way he brings her up. And it's been really heavy for him only being 6, but my goodness, he feels it in a heavy way at that age. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of, it's like, thank goodness Lyle
He
and
shows a lot of frustration at times.
Yeah.
And like not acceptance.
Yeah.
Like mad about it.
Mad. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
like, I just want to see my sister. He knows she's gone, and we got a lot of help from the appropriate people. And when we did have to tell him, and so it's not like we sugarcoated it. It's not like we could say she's in a better place, or she just got sick. It's like, no, we had to be blunt and be like, no, she died. She's not coming back. And she had a rare illness that the doctors couldn't fix, all these things you don't commonly think of, but it's like, you can't tell a 5 or 6-year-old, like, things that, something as simple as like, she got sick. It's like, then you put fear in them of getting sick, or
and you don't want to band-aid it either.
No,
right?
they might think she's coming back the next day or a month from now. And that was
he certainly understands, and that's the nice part. I guess frustration is good, because he knows that he won't be able to ever see her again in this life. So I think he deals with a lot of songs. Usually gets him very upset as well. Music gets him very upset.
Very responsive to music. Like, we recently, him and Bella not only watched Bluey a lot together, but even if it's not a Bluey song, I find him crying over he's such a deep empath. And there'll be episodes of Bluey or just songs that come up that in a commercial that he'll start crying, and he just feels it so deeply. And he'll either be like, I'm just so happy, or he'll be like, that music just made me sad. And he feels really strongly. And I think a lot of people refer to that as empath. I think I'm saying that right, but yeah.
No, he has an energy. He has a great energy.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it from him. He is tough skinned. Like, he can take a hard hit or a hard fall, and he's like, you're like, ooh, and he just gets up and he's like, I'm fine. Like, dusts it off. Everyone else is like wide eyed.
Teddy does that too. He falls and he yells, I'm okay.
Yeah. No one say anything. Don't make him think that he's supposed to be sore.
No, I always do ask him if he's okay, because it's like, oh, that one was like, that one. Are we going to the ER again? Or like, we have gone for chin, all of them except for, knock on wood, they've all gotten the chin stitch.
Yeah, Waylon got that at the spray park.
And teeth knocked out.
He blew up his chin running around the spray park. And it was just him and I. Kyle, you were gone with Bella.
I was with Bella.
And I took him, he got his stitches. And when we were leaving the hospital, he says, so can we go back to the spray park now? Man, are we not done for the day? Like, you just got stitches.
It's a rite of passage. You must have this, and your beard will never grow there. Lying on your chin.
That scar. I'm just like, no, we're done with the spray park today, I think.
I remember you sent me that photo, and it's like blood on his white shirt. I'm like, why did you send me this?
It's funny.
You were like, he's fine.
He wanted you to see it.
He did. He was like, Mom, I'm proud of this. I was like, oh my.
Yeah. Oh, what a cutie. Yeah. We went away for the first time to a hockey game for my husband's 40th. And 1 minute into that game with, everyone's excited. It's Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, whatever.
Wow.
My husband's a hockey dork. I'm in it because I'm in it. It's just a circumstance of life that I'm in 15 times a week. So we get there and like the lights are going, the music's going, and we're like, we took 7 couples, first time away in like 5 years from kids. Yeah, like
that's big one.
And we get a picture of my son's teeth in a bowl. I'm like, what?
Oh.
And he had gone into the corner of a table. I was like, what were you doing? And he's like, I had my arm stuck into my shirt and we were playing hide and go seek in the dark. I was just like,
That's a really good one. I'd go see.
like, yeah. And I was hoping they were my second son because he had a tooth dangler that he wouldn't let anyone rip out all Christmas. Right? And you were like, oh, that's just Finn's tooth that fell out. No big deal. No, it's Gus's brand new 8-year-old teeth that he got just grown.
Oh no.
Okay, so when you lose an adult tooth at that age, what do you do?
Yeah.
So the roots, they like sealed the roots because the roots were still, it's so gross. The roots were still there. So they sealed them and they left them hoping that they would like stay alive. So that was, so he had to go without front teeth for a few months. And he already had a list, but then it like was a further list. And then they like fill in the teeth and the dentist's like, he'll be back. I was like, what? Like, yeah.
What do you mean they fill in? So he has 2 fake teeth now, or?
They're like filled on top of the roots. So it's like, yeah, like it's just, I don't know how they do. He had to like make a mold. He had to like make a mold and like, he couldn't make them too big because he didn't want them to chip and so he didn't have to get full veneers. But okay, if Bella had to describe your family in 3 words, what would it be? If she had to describe you guys in 3 words. I'm gonna go to some rapid fires. You don't have to answer quickly.
I love rapid fire.
Rapid fire question, long form from Kyla. Answer probably.
No, I'm gonna do my best. Okay, for 3 words, the way Bella would describe us would be embarrassing, funny, and exciting. What would you think she would say?
Well, embarrassing was a really good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Because people kind of get the wrong idea of who she was at times.
Yeah.
She was probably more like, she did love to ham up on the video and stuff. Yeah. But I do know she was embarrassed by you.
Oh yeah. In public. Like it was like what do you call a tween vibes? Like, oh mom.
Yeah.
Stop.
I feel like she had tween vibes. Oh yeah. Also though, when she looked at you, I felt like, you know, when someone you feel like is staring into your soul and it's intimidating.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
She definitely brought on some nervous sweat for me. I sweat in Art Academy because it's all teenage girls. So I have to change my shirt when I get home, but she definitely had that staring into your soul energy.
Oh yeah.
That sounds rough.
Yeah.
Nope, that's a good answer, Kyla.
That was a good one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What is a song that reminds you of Bella?
Oh,
Does she have a lot?
She always loved singing. The one we loved singing together the most, if it came on the radio, and it came on the radio so often, was "Baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle?" And we'd like shout it together. I'm losing my mind just a little. And then when we were like, if we were at home or whatever, and we'd be like walking to each other to meet in the middle, and we like dance walk to meet in the middle, and we just kind of, that was like the first song that was kind of our song that we had a lot of fun with.
Right.
Yeah. So I think of her when I hear that one.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of Disney songs that come to mind, but I think that's definitely the pop one.
The pop one. Disney, Barbie. She loved those. She had her own love of artists like Halsey, of course, and she developed a relationship with her. And she loved Ed Sheeran. She loved a lot of Ed Sheeran songs. But that one, I think that one makes me think of her because we always sung it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a nice memory.
I feel really bad.
Yeah.
I think it's just a 1-word name. Yeah, I'm right.
I'm the worst. I combined your names at the start, and I told you that's why I didn't do intros. So I'm not going to try.
Okay, you look it up. Next fire.
What's Waylon's most hilarious habit or phrase? Does he have like a go-to thing right now?
Okay, when he was, I think, 2 and 3, he used to pound his chest in a like come and get it type gorilla manner. And it was so freaking funny. He'd be like,
So cute.
he'd be like this, he'd like, and kind of like, what?
We still do that. What do you mean? We just did that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we were shirts off doing that already.
We were squaring off in the bathroom shouting at each other.
I think it's really funny. He like does not back down. And it's so funny because he's so like,
It's gonna come to blows one year.
I know.
Between the two of us.
That's the one thing. Oh, and okay, one more thing is he started making me, he calls them poop mom cards because he wanted to do it as a joke. And so he drew a little poop with a stinky poop on a piece of paper. And then he drew me as like a stick mom. And then he's like, one time he's like, Mom, what's your favorite color? What do you like to? I was like, flowers and green. And he's like, okay, pretending to make me this card. And then it's me beside this little pile of poop. And he hands it to me and runs away. And he's like, you're a poop mom. And it's just like, I howl all the time because it's like, you're a shit mom. Like, and I'm like, oh, he got me again. Anyways.
Well, recently he's been calling like us Sigma.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Yeah. What is with that?
I figured you might. What the Sigma? Yeah, I knew you'd probably know that one.
All these like Gen Alpha terms.
Or bro. When
Bro.
people
Oh,
call
we're
it
bra.
bro,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
bra all the time.
Yeah. And if I ever say it back to him with a little like, bruh, he just howls. Like,
This is so funny because he goes to elementary school, but because we live on a farm, he gets to go ride on the school bus with like kids in grade 11 and 12, and they're almost forced to interact. And that's what I call like this. He definitely learned some of these things on the bus.
He's learning a lot of it on the bus.
I bet they love him on the bus.
Oh yeah. He's so funny because there's this like grade 12 student, Zach, at the back. He's kind of just like a lump in the back, like leave me alone. But he gets a little like Waylon's like, I get a little smile out of him, Mom. And he's like, I like Zach. I like Zach. Because I think he's this big like standoffish guy, but like Waylon will make him smile.
He's worked his way in.
My friend's
his Waylon magic.
And he says all the time, like he has to deal with all these problems that are happening on the school bus. And what I remember growing up when I was on the school bus, that was like international waters. You didn't get in trouble for what you did on the school bus.
Yeah. Like
at
what?
School. Like, no, they're two separate like worlds. You have your school bus.
Maybe
friends.
the bus driver yelled at you.
Yeah. You get in all kinds of trouble, but it never traced back to when you got to school.
Well, and Waylon's on a transfer bus, so he gets two buses.
Mm-hmm.
The rural bus takes him into the city, and they exchange buses at the high school, and then that bus takes him to his school.
Yeah.
Learning lots.
You guys are way out there.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your go-to comfort food?
Ooh. My favorite is,
Candy.
You like candy. You're a candy guy. I am like homemade bread, buns, and butter. Right out that and I never make them.
Homemade. Yeah.
I know. It sucks.
You're never comforted then.
I know. I tried. I know.
Someone's got to learn to make buns.
That says a lot.
Like grandma's buns, like those like old Saskatchewan grandma buns that they like
go up the road. We can just go to the Hutterites and get them from them.
That's what I need is some Hutterite buns.
I'm salivating right now. They're like a little bit sweet. They're so good.
Yeah.
This is a good question because it's going to transition into the next part of what I want to ask you: mountains or ocean?
Oh, I want to say mountains is so much of my life, but ocean brings me calm.
Yeah, you need some calm.
There's so much more to do.
Mountains, there's so much more to do. Ocean is also scary. Mountains are less scary. Here's me. Now I can't decide. Ocean, I think tropical, but that's beach. Like, don't put me in the middle of the ocean. I will
no pass.
I'll get seasick and then I'll vomit. And
who's thinking this?
This is the way my brain works. Okay. So mountains, but also mountains.
Well, the mountain you could put yourself on, like on climbing Mount Everest, or no, we're thinking like peacefully. What would you like to do? Like a vacation?
Tropical mountains.
I think we're in the winter right now, so a beach sounds like hike where I could end at a beach.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I would take mountains.
You take mountains? Yeah. Okay. I'd take beach.
Yeah. Oh, right now with minus 34 today? Yeah, let's find a beach somewhere.
Yeah,
Right?
right? Yes.
Can you tell everyone about the significance of mountains to you with your tattoos?
Yes, I have if you can see on YouTube, I'm just showing everyone my forearm. I have mountains here and I have mountains on my shoulder. And it started with my first social media, like sharing our life, like me reaching out to the world, was a way actually for me to connect when Bella and I were in hospital, because we spent life in hospital from the day she was born. And my way to connect was um, through a blog that I created and my Facebook page. And I wanted to create a title for my blog. And being, growing up in faith, I knew that the verse in Matthew, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you'll move mountains. And I always had some friends leave me with some quotes for Bella, like let her rest, for she will move mountains. And it was just always a part of our faith. And so, and then apart from that, we spent most time at the Calgary, Alberta Children's Hospital, which has a view of the mountains there in Alberta. And so, and the way I created the mountains was as my tattoos was, each mountain symbolized a surgery. So a mountain she had overcome, a mountain she had moved, was a surgery. And that turned out to be, I lost count at 30, but I know she's had 30 surgeries. And so I have 30 mountains that she's moved. One of the biggest ones being her bowel transplant. But yeah, that's where that comes from for us.
Did you say what she would have picked? She would have picked the beach.
Bella would have picked the beach?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's had enough mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She loved going there, visiting the fresh air, but yeah, definitely beach.
I was explaining the significance of mountains for us. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last and final question, sponsored by Red Bicycle Communications. If you had unlimited funds for your unlimited funds, what would you do for your community in one day?
New pool.
New pool.
New pool.
Limited funds.
Swift Current needs a new pool. I would definitely get that.
Oh yeah. If I would make it a full activity center.
Oh.
Like those places where you can go where they have like a rock wall, they have like go-karts, pool, but a pool with like a water park.
Yeah.
Like a West
Just
Edmonton
lots of accessibility.
Yeah, accessibility. That would be awesome.
Is that what you expected? I don't know.
Is that where we're
Yeah, actually, no.
I went to the
my
pool
husband
yesterday
asked for the same place here. He that was his answer in the Valentine's Day podcast.
Oh, great question.
A pool. They're building a new arena, but with no pool in it.
With the amount of winter we have here in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, the pool is always warm, right?
Yeah. Doesn't Medicine Hat like hook theirs onto the schools? Like, isn't that? I don't know. No. Yeah, I think so. Or Medicine Hat, South Alberta. Just
we went
around.
Waylon and I went to the pool the other day, and it's so funny if you look at the Google review of the Swift Current pool. Yeah, the one of it is just says it's a pool. That's for sure. Because that's all it is. It's just a big rectangle. There's nothing else. I'm like, it is.
It is a pool.
We are fundraising.
They didn't lie.
Yeah.
Where our aquatic center needs a whole redo. We need a whole new.
Well, they're fundraising. They're
fundraising for it right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
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 There we go.
Awesome.
Your next fundraising project.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, man.
We have a lot of those on the go.
You are. You're doing great. I love your drive and ambition, and then the support and place where people can turn to, which, in an authentic way. So
I think in my perfect mind is if someone who's dealing with grief or anxiety, if they are in hospital with their kid, I mean, maybe not we're the perfect example of a resource for making it peaceful for them, but if they can just use us, if someone gets recommended to us and hey, listen to them, they might be able to help you out. I think that's just the perfect, that's what I would want from doing this.
Yeah.
Is someone being turned on to us that we can be helpful to.
Yeah.
I think that's cool feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah. But really, thanks for having us on today. I've kind of been in and out with Waylon. My hands are full, but that's been okay too.
No, it was good. Yeah. I was gonna say,
I think again.
Yeah. As we say goodbye for Color Me Happy, Brandy's podcast, and our Beyond Brave podcast, we like to tell our listeners at the end of each podcast to always stay brave. Is there anything that you like to say at the end that you have for the listeners?
I do not. I just say thank you everyone for your time, because I think time is so precious.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the listeners are here, but as well as you both taking the time to be here and sending your special message to the world. It's definitely appreciated. So thank you. And we'll talk soon, and keep in touch and keep doing what you're doing. Because again, like, I definitely binged your podcast, and there are helpful tools and resources and connections. If anyone is looking for that element of help or grief, you guys are doing it, you're building it, and it's very, very beautiful and inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Brandy.
Thank you.
That memeans a lot. Well, take care and have
a
good rest of your February break.
Yeah, stay warm.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
See you guys.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Big Mac and Little Fry are back.
Big Mac, Little Fry out. Word.
What?